The economy is in the toilet right now. The carbon tax scam, we know, puts a big hole in our GDP, but because of the failed policies, GDP per person in this country keeps on declining. It's at a lower level today than it is at 2014. And can you believe, Mr. Speaker, can you believe that Canada's output per person is lower?
Richmond Hill.
I've never raised on this, but I understand there's a point of privilege on misleading statements. And I've been sitting here listening to the member opposite for the last however long it's been, 8 minutes, and heard so many misleading statements that I think are detrimental not only to our Prime Minister but to myself. I am part of the Environment Committee that put in place these policies. And so I'm just asking the Speaker, when can a point of privilege for misleading statements be used when you sit and hear them over and over and over and over again?
I would probably suggest the honourable member can go to her House Leader and have the discussion. Of course, points of privilege would need an hour's notice to be able to come to the floor of the floor. So if the honourable member finds there's a point of order, a point of privilege, and her privileges have been moved upon, or that she of course can bring that to her House Leader, and notice can be given to the Speaker. The honourable member for Aurora Oak Ridges, Richmond Hill.
Yes, I was actually doing research on it and found that some can be made directly without an hour's notice, and one of them was on misleading statements. So I'm just wondering what is the circumstances under what can be done, and how many misleading statements have to be made before one can actually raise on that point.
Oh, and like I said, when it comes to information like this, this is a point of debate. We accept individuals to be honourable members when they bring this information forward. So again, if you want to bring it forward and talk to the table for a few moments, and maybe we can come up with something. But for the time being, I believe this is a debate. The debate we've been having for the last 7 days, there's all been very similar. We haven't called anything else out. No one else has called anything out. So I would ask the honourable member to maybe bring it to the table, and we can have that discussion. The honourable member, Calgary Forest Lawn.
A Liberal finally admitted and took some accountability. She just said that it's their policies. They helped form those policies. It's those same policies that sent 2 million Canadians into a food bank, that allowed all this corruption, something that we're talking about.
The honourable member for Aurora Oak Ridges, Richmond Hill.
Thank you. Point of privilege. This member opposite is now saying to me that I forced 2 million Canadians to go to food banks as part of this government bringing forward these policies. That's completely misleading, and I take it as a point of privilege.
Well, I think we are getting to points of order is really what we're doing. The honourable member for Timmins James Bay, then I'll go over to
Thank you. Well, it's hardly an impressive speech from my honourable colleague from the Conservatives, but I'm sorry that the member for the Liberals is getting in such a flap. That is not a point of privilege. It's a point of debate. So just let's stay focused on the issue at hand.
The honourable Cold Lake.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yes, this is a point of order, not a point of privilege. And if the member really wants, I would suggest that she read Bosch and Gagnon, and it stipulates these quite clearly. Thank you.
Again, I think we are descending into a lot of debate here, and the floor, of course, is with the honourable member for Calgary Forest Lawn for the minute and 38 seconds that remain.
I want to thank that Liberal member for putting another example of another unhinged Liberal. But that's how they all become once their corruption and scandals come to light.
I guess we're into point of orders today, so the honourable member Timmins James Bay.
Well, he can't make an accusation that someone's unhinged because she raises a point. That's just cheap. So if you can't do a debate without being cheap, I think, Speaker, you have to call that out.
I believe we're falling into debate even deeper, so we can't be debating the debate. The honourable member for Calgary Forest Lawn to finish up with the minute and 26 seconds that are remaining.
Not only do we have unhinged Liberals in here, but another example of what I've been talking about in my speech, that it's always the NDP that cover up all the corruption and scandals. It's on full display in the House again. This is exactly why Canadians have lost trust in this Liberal-NDP government. They've lost faith in them. That's why they want a carbon tax election now. They're fed up of the scandals. They're fed up of the cover-up, like the slush fund of $400 million that rewarded Liberal insiders. It's time to call a carbon tax election. Canadians want the Canada back that is not anymore under this Liberal-NDP government. All we hear across this country is Canada is not the same Canada anymore. But that's why we're calling for, and Canadians are calling for, a carbon tax election. So our common sense Conservative leader can axe the tax, build the homes, fix the budget, and stop the crime, including the corruption and scandals, and bring back that Canada we all once knew and still loved. Now it's up to them to call it. Let's do it now.